As science continues to make fresh finds, and as anthropologists, archaeologists, and all the other ologists keep learning and digging, we're constantly gaining captivating new insights into our past. Human evolution is an ever-expanding area of study, and we're living in an age where discoveries are happening on an almost daily basis, all thanks to advancing technology fueling this scientific pursuit. So join us as we uncover 15 of the scariest recent finds about mankind. Number 15. Australopithecus. The extinct group shared a very close link to modern humans, and may even be among our direct ancestors. Fossils of this genus date between 4.4 and 1.4 million years ago. The name itself, meaning southern ape, refers to their first discoveries in South Africa. Interestingly, one major breakthrough came not from digging, but from satellite technology. Paleoanthropologist Dr. Lee Berger used Google Earth to scan areas around Johannesburg, narrowing down unexplored cave systems likely to contain fossil deposits. He'd already excavated a few sites, but this approach let him refine search zones before launching any field expeditions. What followed was the discovery of previously unknown fossil sites in Malapa, leading to the unearthing of a hominin species now known as Australopithecus sediba. These ancient relatives lived about 2 million years ago and had traits that blended primitive and human-like anatomy. It was a major moment in human history, made possible through both digital tools and fieldwork. Number 14. New human species in Luzon. In a cave on Luzon Island, researchers found bones and teeth that left scientists unsure, raising far more questions than they could answer. The bones were buried for ages, gradually being eroded and moved by natural forces. It began in 2007, when a single tiny foot bone surfaced. It was later dated to roughly 67,000 years ago. Excavations in 2011 and 2015 revealed even more remains. Altogether, they found 12 hand and foot bones, part of a femur, and a few teeth. What puzzled researchers was that these weren't human, and they weren't aliens. Sorry to crush that theory. These were determined to be from a newly identified species of human called Homo luzonensis, named after Luzon Island. What made these bones rare was the simplified molars, far smaller and less complex than other early humans. This unusual dental anatomy suggests a lineage we hadn't seen before, and its exact place in human evolution remains entirely unresolved. Number 13. Dragonman Skull. Sometime in the 1930s, locals in northeastern China pulled a peculiar skull from river mud. It was nearly intact and, unlike typical human skulls, elongated with a massive brow ridge and a larger than normal size. Instead of reporting it, they stashed it in an abandoned well, where it sat for almost 90 years. When scientists finally studied it, they determined the skull was at least 146,000 years old and belonged to a male from an unknown species. Researchers at the Chinese Academy of Sciences named it Homo longi, Dragonman. Some argue it's a new human species, while others think it might be a Denisovan or part of an already known lineage. Its unusual mix of traits has left experts divided, but the find clearly adds complexity to our understanding of human evolution in Asia. Whether it belongs to a separate group or bridges existing ones, the Dragonman remains one of the most debated skulls ever found. Number 12. Lucy Bat. In 1974, a partial skeleton was found in Ethiopia. It belonged to a species with a name full of syllables, nicknamed Lucy, one of the most significant finds in evolutionary science. These small-bodied, small-brained hominins lived between 3.7 and 3 million years ago. Lucy's species name translates to southern ape from afar, with afar being the region in Ethiopia where she was discovered. They could walk upright but weren't built for long-distance travel. Her skeleton, 47 bones out of the full 207, took 3 weeks to fully excavate. She stood about 1.05 meters tall and weighed roughly 28 kilograms. Her fused bones and erupted wisdom tooth suggested she was a young adult. Her long arms, tiny rib cage, and skull resembled apes, but her pelvis, knees, and spine were closer to modern humans. Although more fossils have since been found, none as complete as Lucy. She still holds a central place in our understanding of early human evolution. Number 11. Denisovan fossils in Southeast Asia. Cave recent discoveries have continued to expand what we know about Denisovans, an ancient human species. Most of what we understand about them has come from genetic analysis of fossilized teeth and bones. In 2022, a molar was discovered in Cobra Cave, located in Laos. This site became just the third confirmed Denisovan location in Southeast Asia. The tooth, which likely belonged to a young adult female, was dated to somewhere between 131,000 and 164,000 years ago. Modern humans from Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and New Guinea carry a higher amount of Denisovan DNA, and this fossil offers some explanation for that. It strengthens the theory that Denisovans had a much wider geographical range than previously believed. Having physical evidence in a specific place helps anchor the genetic patterns researchers have tracked across modern populations. There's still much to uncover about this mysterious lineage, but each find moves us one step closer to understanding who they were and where they lived. Number 10. Dollyman Skull. In 1978, archaeologists unearthed a skull at the Dolly site in Shanxi Province, China. This fossil is estimated to be around 200,000 years old and appears to blend features from different human ancestors. It has a thick cranial wall, a sloping forehead, and a strong brow ridge, hallmarks of Homo erectus. But it also displays traits found in more modern species, such as a larger cranial capacity closer to that of Homo sapiens. Because it contains both primitive and advanced features, the Dolly skull sparked debates about where it fits in our evolutionary tree. Some experts think it could represent an evolutionary link, a transition form, while others suggest it might belong to Homo heidelbergensis, a species that may have given rise to both Neanderthals and modern humans. Whatever its classification, the Dolly skull stands out as a fascinating example of overlapping traits, and it remains a key piece in the puzzle of East Asia's human ancestry. Number 9. Neanderthals. In 1856, quarry workers came across strange skeletal remains in a cave within the Neander Valley. This was the first fossil ever identified as Neanderthal. The bones showed heavy limb structure and a distinct, pronounced brow ridge, traits now iconic to this extinct species. Alongside the skeleton, remains of large prehistoric mammals and simple stone tools were uncovered. At the time, scientists debated the find. Some believed they'd found the earliest humans. Others argued it was a separate species entirely. Finally, it became clear Neanderthals weren't our ancestors, but close relatives. Archaeologists and geneticists have since confirmed that modern non-African humans carry about 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. That overlap came from interactions, the intimate kind, between early Homo sapiens and Neanderthals during their time on Earth. That genetic mingling left a lasting imprint, one still found in human genomes today. This first fossil find would reshape everything we thought we knew about human prehistory. Number 8. 13-million-year-old skull. In 2017, scientists unearthed a rare fossil in what is now Kenya. The specimen, dating back 13 million years, belonged to a baby ape. But this wasn't just another monkey skull. This one offered new insight. It's considered one of the oldest known hominoid fossils, potentially belonging to a species never formally recorded before. The skull closely resembled modern-day gibbons, suggesting it was an early ancestor. During the Miocene period, between 5 and 23 million years ago, primates split into dozens of species. Yet only about 1/3 of them have been confirmed through fossil evidence. While this particular infant ape isn't believed to be a direct human ancestor, the skull still helps scientists understand how early apes evolved and branched into different groups. These kinds of finds give researchers a clearer view of how primate diversity developed across ancient ecosystems and eventually led to the appearance of hominins. Each bone narrows the gaps in our evolutionary timeline. What do you think about it? Number 7. Homo Noliti. In South Africa's Rising Star Cave system, researchers found remains of a previously unknown human relative, Homo Noliti. This discovery changed long-held assumptions about intelligence and behavior in early hominins. Initially believed that only large-brained humans could engage in symbolic acts, but the Noliti remains told a different story. Despite their small brain size, they had buried their dead, used fire for light, and even carved patterns into stone surfaces. The implications were immediate. These weren't primitive beings acting on instinct. They made intentional decisions that hinted at awareness and culture. The site's structure and burial evidence forced scientists to reevaluate timelines and mental capacities of early human relatives. It also demonstrated that brain size alone didn't determine complexity. What the researchers uncovered challenged previous assumptions about what makes us human, and who else might have shared those traits. Homo Noliti offered proof that the evolution of thought may have deeper roots than once believed. All right, now let's move to number 6, the Tong Child. In 1924, a small skull was found in South Africa's northwest province. For decades, it was believed the child, part of an early hominin species, had been killed by a leopard or another large predator. But a new analysis told a darker story. The child, just 3.5 years old, bore specific trauma patterns on the skull. Researchers at Wits University's paleoanthropology unit concluded it wasn't a cat that delivered the fatal blow. It was most likely a massive bird of prey. The markings matched those made by modern raptors like the African crowned hawk eagle. The child weighed about 10 to 12 kilograms, well within the lifting capacity of such birds, which can carry prey 3 times that size. The discovery reshaped how researchers interpret early hominin threats. Predation wasn't just from the ground. Aerial hunters played a part too, and the skies of ancient Africa were far deadlier than we'd ever imagined. Number 5. Denisova Cave. In the Altai Mountains of Siberia lies Denisova Cave, a site of major anthropological significance. While it was first documented in the 1970s, it wasn't until 2010 that it shook up science. A single finger bone found inside revealed the existence of an entirely new human species, the Denisovans. Genetic testing showed that this group shared DNA with both Neanderthals and modern humans, indicating interbreeding among species. What made this site remarkable wasn't just the finger bone. Additional artifacts and fossils spanning thousands of years were uncovered. The cave's stable climate and protective interior helped preserve ancient organic materials better than most excavation sites. The Denisovans had left behind more than just bones. Their genetic legacy continues to live on in certain populations today. The discovery completely changed how researchers view ancient human migration and interaction. Denisova Cave remains one of the most valuable locations ever found in the study of human prehistory. Number 4. Humans and Neanderthals. It turns out modern humans might carry more Neanderthal heritage than previously believed. Genomic studies from both ancient and current human samples revealed that interbreeding between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals started around 47,000 years ago and could have continued for roughly 6,800 years. While it's long been accepted that early humans and Neanderthals had contact, newer genome mapping shows just how widespread and sustained that genetic mixing really was. Neanderthals split from the human lineage about 500,000 years ago. Today, people outside of Africa still carry 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. The precise locations and frequency of these interbreeding events remain unclear. It may have occurred in isolated regions or across many areas over time. Recent studies compared vast genetic data from modern populations dating back 45,000 years to chart when this cross-species interaction was at its peak. And it seems that the period of blending left permanent traces in nearly all of us today. Number 3. Ancient civilization in the Azores. Although historical records credit the Portuguese with discovering Santa Maria Island in the Azores in 1427, newer evidence suggests they weren't the first to set foot there. For centuries, this version of history stood unchallenged, European settlers arriving by ship, claiming untouched land. But archaeological data tells a different story. Soil samples, remnants of fires, and trace artifacts show signs of human activity on the island dating back at least 700 years before the Portuguese arrived. These early inhabitants left behind subtle but undeniable clues of their presence, disrupting the accepted narrative of exploration. While it's still unclear exactly who these people were, their existence reshapes the timeline of Azorean habitation. It suggests that human migration and exploration patterns were more complex and far-reaching than once documented. Number 2. Giant wombat bones. This is just awesome. A recent study changed the way scientists view a prehistoric creature from Australia, the Diprotodon, a wombat-like giant marsupial that lived tens of thousands of years ago. In 1984, researchers found a massive tooth that appeared to have been marked by tools, suggesting interaction with early Aboriginal Australians. For decades, that interpretation stood until a closer analysis told a different story. A scientist from the Australian Research Centre for Human Evolution examined the tooth again and discovered the markings weren't man-made at all. Instead, they were most likely caused by scavenging mammals, possibly marsupial predators like quolls or Tasmanian devils. This reevaluation cast doubt on earlier beliefs that humans had hunted these massive animals. With no other evidence of interaction between people and Diprotodon, the idea of active human hunting seemed less likely. It reminded scientists how important it is to revisit old assumptions with new tools. Number 1. Melanesians carry unknown DNA. Back in 2016, a team of scientists studying the DNA of modern-day Melanesians, people from regions like Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and the Solomon Islands, found something unexpected. While they anticipated finding traces of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA, the researchers also identified genetic markers that didn't match any known human species. The project aimed to track how much ancient DNA modern humans carry and to explore which hominid groups interbred as humans migrated across continents. Most Europeans and Asians carry around 1.5 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. Melanesians, however, showed a higher level of Denisovan ancestry, around 1.11%, and surprisingly, they also carried DNA from a third, totally unidentified group. This discovery suggested there are ancient human lineages we haven't yet uncovered. It means the story of early human interbreeding is far more complex than previously believed, and that entire groups of hominins might have existed without ever being recorded in the fossil archive we've relied on so far. If you've enjoyed watching this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.